This is a demonstration on how to use the Dropbox in D2L version 10. First you'll enter a course and then you'll go to the Dropbox. I'll click on Assessments, Dropbox. You can see in this Dropbox there are several folders already created, but if you're creating one for the first time, you just go to the Dropbox and click on New Folder. Anytime you see that red asterisk, you need to enter something in that field, so you'd give this a name. If each student is going to submit their own work, you leave individual submission folder selected. If you've created group work for this assignment, you can choose the group submission folder and then choose which group this is for. I'll leave it on individual, and I'm not going to put it in a category. If you do have a grade item created for this Dropbox folder, you can select it from the list. Looks like I have one for journal entry 5, so let's just change this to 5, and then I'll connect it to journal entry 5. So what this means is when I work in the Dropbox to correct this assignment and I enter a score in the Dropbox, it will also send that score directly to the gradebook. And then you would put how many points this assignment is worth. If you have a rubric created for this assignment, you can add it here. You can type in any additional instructions that you want to leave for the student. Maybe you've already created the instructions and you've got them listed somewhere else on the assignment. You could copy and paste them into the Dropbox if you would like to do that. Then under submission options, you can select how many files are allowed. You may have to open this feature. There's a little toggle button here, show and hide, so you can show those either unlimited or 1, and then if you choose 1, you can decide if you want to overwrite or just allow 1 submission. So I'll save this, and then I want to look at the restrictions tab, so I'm going to click on restrictions. You can see I can set availability. Most often you would probably just put an end date on, so this would be the due date. After this date, students would no longer be able to submit to this folder. If you do want to restrict on when they can start submitting, you can put in a start date. The bottom section here is special access. So if you have a date, an end date set for the 22nd, and you have a student that needs an extension on that date, you don't have to open it for the entire class. You can go to Special Access and add the user. So now instead of the 22nd, this is a special access. I can extend this. Maybe they're going to get an extra week, the 29th. And then you would select which student you're giving the special access to. If you give special access, the student will be listed on the restrictions page. If you need to edit the restriction, you can do that, or you can delete the restriction or the special access. And then I'll save and close this. There's my new folder that I've created, and you can see my end date is visible. After students submit to a folder, then you can go in and grade the submissions. Assignment 1 already has some files submitted, so I'm going to click on it. And you can see it'll bring up all the student names along with their submissions. Nothing for student 4 and 5 yet, but these students have submitted files. So now I'm ready to grade them. So I would follow across for one student, grade and leave feedback. I can view their submissions right in D2L by clicking on the file. It will bring up the information on the left-hand side. I'll go back to the user submission, and then I can look at the second one, for example, or the third one. You can also download the files. Once you've assessed their work, over on the right hand side you can see this one has a rubric associated with it. If you do have a rubric, you can click on the rubric and you can select the level that they achieved. There's lots of different kinds of rubrics. Or you can simply just enter a score here, and then you can enter feedback, type in your comments about their work. You can also record an audio message as part of their feedback. And then you have the choice of either publishing or saving as a draft. I'm going to save as a draft, and then I'm going to click Done at the top. So now you can see I'm back to the folder Assignment 1 where all my students are listed, and you can see I've saved the draft on this one. I've also saved a draft down here on the third one. You may choose to look at all student submissions and save all of them as a draft and then publish them all at the same time. If you choose to do that, you would go in like as we did and save it as a draft, and when you're finished and ready to release them, you would go back and choose all the ones you're ready to grade. This one's not ready yet. And then you would click the Publish Feedback button and click Yes. So now if I go back and look at these, you can see it tells me that the grade and feedback are published. So now I'll go back and look at the gradebook and see what it looks like there. So I go to Assessments and go to Grades. Now this would be only applicable if you do have a grade items created, but you can see here's Assignment 1 and the scores have been entered from the 2 students that we published. You'll also notice in the gradebook that you've got a little icon next to the students that have submitted to this folder. So number 5 here has not submitted yet. If you'd like to see an individual submission, like for number 3 for example, you can click on the icon right from the gradebook. It will open a new tab in your web browser directly in this Dropbox folder, so you can look at the student's file, you can look at the feedback that was left, save anything, update anything, and then just close that tab and it'll take you back to the gradebook. I'm going to return to the Dropbox. If you've got an assignment that's got several files and you want to download all of the files to your computer, you can do that. And what you would do is you would click on the folder. You would select all students and then click on the download button. This will prepare a zip file that you can then download to your computer, take that home, grade your papers at home. Maybe you want to put in some comments right into the paper themselves, and then you can come back to D2L, and in your feedback area you can actually upload the file, the revised file, right to the student here.